Morning Market Call. I'm your host, Todd Castagna, and with me today, we're lucky to have a special guest who is on location right now, Mr. Rhett Weller. Rhett, thanks for being with us on the show today.
Thanks, Todd. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's good to have you on the show today, buddy.
Hey, I'm excited.
Today on the show, we're going to be discussing three current events topics that are on all of our minds. Firstly, we're going to be talking about the Facebook IPO. This is hot off the presses. Just came out today. The company filed for an IPO raising $5 billion, which reportedly would put the valuation of the company of somewhere around $100 billion. Rhett, this is, everybody knows about Facebook. This is big news in the IPO world. What are your thoughts on the IPO as far as the company is concerned and as far as the valuation of the stock is concerned?
Great, thanks, Todd. Well, about a year ago now, we actually talked about Facebook and if you could actually invest in Facebook. Some of the problems we had were, at the time it was private. It still is private until the actual IPO happens. We talked a lot about secondary markets. People are wondering, hey, it's the best company. Everybody uses it. I want to get in. Well, now it's finally here. We can finally invest in Facebook. The problem I have is it's a good company, but there's two parts. There's the good part of it, and there's the valuation part. I think the valuation is going to be a little high. It's the flavor of the month. It's going to be the hot stock of the year. The initial trading is going to be difficult. Maybe you could talk more about that. But I have a couple of numbers for you. So we've got, a 25% margin according to their S1. We've got, about, $3.7 billion in revenue, about $668 million in profits. Those are good numbers. But we're going to see a PE of over 100 on this stock. It's going to be really rough and tough to justify paying that much for a stock that is, the absolute flavor of the month.
I totally agree, Rhett. You're going to have to see a lot of growth in the company's numbers in order to justify that type of valuation. Just the fact that it's worth $100 billion with only 668 in earnings, that PE ratio of over 100 is seldom seen. Like I said, you'd have to see incredible growth. I think that there might be opportunity for those that get into the IPO shares before it hits the public markets. But as it enters the public markets, you're going to see a lot of retail investors jump in. I think you might see a small spike in the stock, but from there, I wouldn't be surprised to see a correction and it go even below its IPO price, maybe on the day of when it begins trading and sometime in May, and maybe a week after. But I don't think that this valuation is going to hold in the long term. Yeah. Rhett, let's move on to another topic that we'd like to discuss, which is Groupon. One of my favorite companies, Groupon. Recently, I went and got a massage here in Orem, Utah, through a Groupon coupon, and it was a fantastic experience. Rhett, we had a discussion about Groupon a couple months ago. I want to know, has your opinion changed on whether or not Groupon is a good investment?
Yeah, so Groupon, we also talked about that a couple months ago. I am still extremely bearish on Groupon. I think Groupon is a terrible business model. Recently, we had some numbers from Living Social, gave their 2011 numbers. Let me give you those. They had revenue of $245 million and losses of $558 million. So for every dollar they generated in revenue, they lost about 2.5 times that. This is just a terrible business model. I know you probably love it. You get your massages, you get your free meal. It's great for the consumer. If you're a consumer, I say eat it up. Your only real risk is that a location won't, they won't honor their Groupon. But your problem is if you're an investor, this can only go south. You can't do that forever. This is more, Pets.com back in the bubble days lost under 100 million, and Living Social itself lost more than 5 times that last year. Not to mention Groupon's numbers. I think the report here in the next couple of days will probably be something really similar.
Those are pretty amazing numbers, right? It's hard to argue with those. I just hope the Groupon then stays in business so I can take advantage of those deals that they have. With those type of numbers, who knows if they're going to be in business for several years from now. Last but not least, right, and I think the most important topic of the day, one that we've all been thinking about. A couple of nights ago, the most spectacular dunker in the NBA put together a masterful performance, dunking over Kendrick Perkins. Blake Griffin, your boy, Rhett, just absolutely annihilated a dunk, and I want to know your opinion on it. Was it the dunk of the year?
Todd, this was definitely a display of unseen athleticism that we cannot comprehend. It was just ridiculous. The announcers felt it, the arena felt it, the entire country felt it. I love basketball, you love basketball. My problem, this is not a dunk. Like, it looks like a dunk. It is not a dunk. He just throws the ball into the net. I blame Dwight Howard. A few years ago in the dunk contest, he did his two foot from the foul line, but he threw it in on the Superman dunk.
But Rhett, this is different. I mean, Blake's finger, if you look at the replay, it clearly touched the rim, which in my opinion could put it as absolutely defined as a dunk. Do you agree with that?
No, Todd, I don't, because my finger can touch the rim. It doesn't mean I can dunk. I mean, if I get there and just let the ball go and the ball goes in and my finger grazes the rim, that is not a dunk. I still maintain that LeBron's dunk last week, when he jumped over the guy, is more spectacular.
So LeBron's dunk was amazing, no doubt. But I would argue, and I would submit, that Dwight Howard's dunk in the dunk contest does count. Blake Griffin's dunk over Timothy Mozgov last year should count. And that his dunk over Kendrick Perkins this year was the best dunk that I've seen in the last 5 years. And it should count as a dunk because of the downward thrust that the ball has as it's going from the hand down into the rim. The downward angled thrust is what should count a dunk as a dunk. And I'm gonna stick with that. I think that it is irrefutable evidence that it was a dunk and that it is the dunk of the year. Rhett, I'll give you the last word.
You know what? I think you convinced me. That dunk is sick. That's hard to argue against. I mean, the fact it was Kendrick Perkins, this guy's not a pushover. I mean, it's not like he was dunking on some just, schmo in the league. He was dunking on one of the premier defenders and really a guy who's kind of scary to play against because you don't know what he's going to do. So the fact that he just decided, you know what, I am putting this ball in. He was 3 feet above the rim. You've convinced me. I'm on board with this. LeBron's dunk when he jumped over the guy didn't even get that big of a reaction from the announcers. They didn't even notice.
No, I don't think most of the fans even knew.
This was just phenomenal. So yeah, you've swayed me.
Well, thank you, Rhett, for acquiescing. You're a kind man. But just lastly, I just love the fact that as a young player, he's willing to put his body at risk by going toe-to-toe with one of the biggest guys in the league. And just throwing the ball down when he didn't even have to. All he had to do was lay it in. And he decided to put a show on for us by throwing the ball in with everything that he had. Thank you, Blake Griffin. And thank you, Rhett Weller, for being on the show. It's been a pleasure to have you with us today. Join us on morningmarketcall.org. We are out.
MMC is brought to you by the Marriott School of Management in association with the Brigham Young University Department of Communications. MNC is made possible by a generous donation from Larry Tasjan and Gary Williams and is produced by Rhett Weller, Todd Castagna, Mason Chen, Joel Tovey, and Sabrina Beck, with line producing by Kika Latu. For more information, find us on our Facebook and Twitter or at morningmarketcall.org.